Nobody was going to push me around, especially that full-born Elfgar. I did not say a thing when he was made Earl of East Anglia. Nobody asked how I felt about it. I kept my disappointment to myself, but when it was finally my turn the man went into a frenzy. I remember that day well. Why should he think he deserved the earldom more than me? I was next in line, and I think I'm the better man for the job. King Edward had called a Witenagemot in Gloucester to announce my new appointment. As we were gathering in the hall, everything started pretty quiet. I had collected a group of retainers around me, and we were waiting for the king to appear. Suddenly we heard shouting from the back of the hall. Of course we all turned to see what it was, and there was Elfgar striding forward, pushing people out of the way. Elfgar was like a badger when he was angry. His father Leofric was short-legged and stout, and although Elfgar was taller than his sire, his body was long and his legs were still short. His blonde beard bristled about his red face, making him look rather ugly. I think he had been drinking. He stopped far behind me and shouted from a distance. "Don't think this is going to be so easy. We don't need another Godwinson telling us what to do." The other earls, great and small, were so startled they fell silent. Then they all started arguing with each other. Elfgar wasn't finished. "They will rule over us all, I tell you. Why reward the man who went into exile? Why him instead of me?" He was attacking me personally. I had nothing to do with my family's exile. It was quite unfair, and I was trying to think of something fitting to say when Harold stepped out from behind the king's throne. He was shouting to be overheard, but at first no one listened. I wanted to go after Elfgar, but Harold put a hand on my arm. He strode forward instead, shouldering his way through the crowd. He stepped on a bench towering over Elfgar. "How dare you disturb the king's court?" my brother bellowed. That stopped Elfgar for a moment, but he was too blinded by his rage. "And you!" the badger shouted. "You think that just because you're the Earl of Wessex you can step into your father's shoes? I spit on you!" And he did. Harold made a fist, but restrained himself. "I spit on your whole family," Elfgar continued, fighting off the hands trying to restrain him. "You made the king your thrall." He jumped forward and tried to pull Harold off the bench. From all sides men were dragging them apart. Earl Leofric was shoving his way through the crowd, but could not reach his son. I watched a couple of men run toward the door, the king's door. There was a lot of scuffling, and then Harold and Elfgar stood, breathing heavily, straining toward each other. The place was in an uproar. Suddenly the king's door flew open, and Edward stepped through, in a righteous rage. It was obvious someone told him what Elfgar said. The hall fell silent, and we all bowed. Edward sat on his throne, gripping the arms. "Earl Elfgar, come forward." Elfgar had to straighten his tunic first. He looked a fright. I never saw a man so pale. Taking a deep breath, he advanced to the throne and went down on one knee. "Sire," he breathed, "I misspoke myself. I was not in control." No matter what he said, I don't think it would have made a difference. "Elfgar Leofricson, I declare you a traitor," Edward growled, pointing at the fool. I almost felt sorry for him. "You have shamed your father and your earldom. I give you 4 days to leave this country." Elfgar stood up, hanging his head. Everybody backed away as his father pushed through and grabbed him by the arm. "Go, now." The king seemed suddenly tired. Leofric led his submissive son away. Well, submissive isn't the right word. Stunned is more like it. Elfgar would never submit to anyone. Men turned and watched as they made their way to the rear of the hall, then out. Neither father nor son looked back. Edward sat for a few minutes and no one dared speak. Finally he held out his hand to Harold, who gave him the chain of office he had been carrying. The king took the chain and beckoned me forward. I knelt as he leaned toward me. "I am sorry, Tostig," he said quietly. "It wasn't supposed to happen this way." I really didn't care. I was never one for a big display. The king put a hand on my shoulder, then stood. "It is my wish that Tostig Godwinson rule as Earl of Northumbria. Are you with me?" Aye. I don't think they were unanimous, but I also don't think anyone dared object. Perhaps Elfgar did me a favour after all.